Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. We still have 7 more minutes. Ita sieta minuto hito. Ba estudantes siroto na magseliur. Além da comissão organizadora, quero que o professor Sirhusi escola ID que ele convida na estudantes siroto na remata na almoço, a tu tama filfali mai. Mas a comissão organizadora, ita é participante ruma na maxi ela faz exposição ninguém, ita convida para ele tama filfali mai, hori rola faz tour. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do a quick announcement before we begin. Just to remind all participants who are registered for the parallel workshops on agricultural transformation with Professor Howard Yana Shapiro and on health research translation with Professor Frederick Ramsdell, that these two are taking place simultaneously in the pavilion rooms. Nebe baita Watson we mag-register na tuirmos workshop rua seluk iha area agricultura nomos Saudi ninian se iha mos workshop rua nebe se acontece o tempo anessa mas be iha pavilhão iha fel parte liur iha kona ba agricultura hamutu ko professor Howard Yana Shapiro no datang iha area Saudi pesquisa ba Saudi ninian hamutu ko professor Frederick Ramsdell. Neve se quer que você registre tiona, a favor, bele diretamente para o pavilhão. No, iha conferência, que salão conferência da NEMA, kita sei iha mos diálogo ho juventude, que a juventude ni diálogo, com a carreira ciência iha mundo toma, iha. Então, ida ne orostan toma se hahu. So, I would like to once again inform you that before we begin, for all the participants who are registered for the parallel workshops on agricultural transformation with Professor Howard Yana Shapiro and on health, so for Pavilion 1, it's on agricultural with agricultural transformation with Professor Howard Yana Shapiro, and in Pavilion 2, this is the health research translation with Professor Frederick Ramsdell. These are taking place simultaneously in the pavilion rooms, as mentioned. Please start to make your way directly after this announcement so you can take part in the respective sessions. We have 3 more minutes. Ita sieta minuto tolo. Se caricantes ita bot se registro na tutir workshop ruane, al favor, bele bao na iare pavilion. This session in the main conference hall is youth dialogue on science careers around the world. Okay, rather than a traditional lecture, this session provides you an opportunity to hear directly from distinguished scientists about their own journeys, experiences, and careers, and for young people to engage with them through discussion and questions. So let's welcome back again all the participants. Aliretamba protocolo sira, al favor. Bele convido ona estudante sira. Tamba ema mos hahu menu sona, se bele karik ita hototu duka tang mai oinde di ta prensa cadeira sir nebe mamu ke oin. Molo kita hu ba estudantes sira participantes sira hotu na mimak turli e kotuk sebele ita muda mos mai oin tamba quase cadeira mamuk baraklos. Sela orsida ita ne live stream ne hare mamuk baraklos. Deliatan convida ita hotu na beture kotuk ala favor lili usi parte tasi ninien ba participantes sira estudantes sira usi universidade ou escola senhor sir na beture kotuk favor, ita vele buduka filfali mai oin para preencher cadeira na besimamu. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for our final substantive session here in the main conference hall. We turn our attention to the people who will shape the future of science, our young people. Before we begin, I would like to once again kindly remind all participants who are registered for the parallel workshop on agriculture transformation with Professor Howard Yana Shapiro, please make your way to Pavilion 1, and on Health Research Translation with Professor Frederick Ramsdell on Pavilion 2, that these two workshops are taking place simultaneously. Please make your way now directly after this announcement so you can take part in the respective sessions. This session in the main conference hall is Youth Dialogue on Science Careers Around the World. Rather than a traditional lecture, this session provides an opportunity to hear directly from distinguished scientists about their own journeys, experiences, and careers, and for young people to engage with them through discussion and questions. We are delighted to welcome Professor Benjamin Lis, recipient of 2021 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, and Professor Yannis Ioannidis, the distinguished computer scientist, and Professor Konstantin Novoselov, recipient of 2010 Nobel Prize in Physics. This session will be moderated by Mr. Guteriano Neves, a Timorese public policy researcher and analyst specializing in economic development and political economy. Mr. Neves and our professors, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you for the MC for the introduction, and it's very hard. It's always challenging after the lunch to have a discussion on this issue, but it's a great honor for me to moderate and to facilitate this session. Distinguished scientists, Nobel laureate in respected areas, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to facilitate and moderate this discussion with the topic Science Careers Around the World. While previous topics focusing on how science can bring benefit to the nation's development, this session, as I view it, is about finding individual reasons and motivations or career prospects for the science around the world. This is critically important for many of our students who are present here, and we hope that after this session they would find some reason or some inspiration and motivation to build their careers in science, and not only in Timor-Leste, but looking beyond Timor-Leste. Before proceeding, let me take a few minutes to introduce our distinguished panelists. First, Professor Benjamin Lis is the Director of Homogeneous Catalysis Department at the Max Planck Institution for Coal Research and Organic Chemistry. I hope I pronounced it right. He was awarded 2021 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the development of asymmetric organocatalysis together with Professor David Macmillan. Their work in the area make a huge contribution to the development of pharmaceutical and fine chemical synthesis. Let's give a a round of applause to Professor Benjamin. Our second panelist is Professor Yanis Ioannidis, if I'm pronouncing it right, a professor of informatics and telecommunication at the National Kapodistrian University of Athens, who is also the president of Associations for Computing Machinery. His research areas spans from database system, data science, digital repositories, and human-computer interaction. Please give a round of applause to Professor Yanis. And our third panelist is Sir Konstantin Novoselov. He's a physicist and material scientist known for isolating graphene at the University of Manchester with Professor Andrei Zim. Their experiment established graphene as a real two-dimensional material, and with that earned them 2010 Nobel Prize in Physics. Sir Konstantin now is the Tan Chin Kuan Centennial Professor at the National University of Singapore and a leader of the Institute for Functional Intelligence Materials. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our third panelist, Sir Konstantin Novoselov. So, given that this is a dialogue, I would only start with the first question, and then let's open for the discussion, and hopefully our students and our young Timorese here can find communicate with the. So, ito say halo hao sihus pergunta primeiro depois makita ba discussão para ita bot sir pergunta. Ia kari pergunta rum ia tempo bela husu tempo barak do husu pergunta. So this is a rather personal question for the panelists. If you look back to your career, and this is very important for us Timorese, what was your turning point or the pivotal moment in your career when you decided to be a scientist or to invest to pursue career in science, and what was your primary reason? And has your reasons changed over time or not? So I would start with Professor Yanis. Yeah. Maybe 4 5 minutes.
Okay. It is hard to say that there was one pivotal moment that changed everything. My father was an engineer, and I was really excited by what he was doing. And he had his private business in engineering. And so I always wanted to become an engineer, in fact, mechanical engineer. But I ended up doing electrical engineering because I felt that, with electronics, even mechanical things could become better, so I moved to that. And then I had, at the time in Greece, when I was studying undergraduate studies, there was not much computing in electrical engineering. There were 2 courses, mostly hardware. And then in my last year, when I was ready to finish my undergraduate degree and continue, one of the most important theoretical computer scientists came as a professor at my university, Christos Papadimitriou, and he taught a class on one programming language. And then I fell in love. I fell in love with computer science. And I said, I don't know enough. I'll go and do a master's degree to learn more about computing. And then I went to the US for my master's. And in there, I saw in some of the courses research problems. I had never been in touch with the research process before. And I saw some of the more senior graduate students, PhD students that were doing research, and they were teaching assistants, And in discussing with them, I realized that until then, I was learning knowledge that existed, but there is this process of trying to discover new knowledge that doesn't exist. This really excited me. I spent many all-nighters trying to solve little research problems. And I said, no, I have to go for a PhD. And even when I went for a PhD, I said, okay, I'll do my PhD and then go back to industry, because that was always my dream. But as I grew in my PhD efforts on data management, I fell in love with data in general. And although there were various, temptations to go into other parts of computing, I stick with data, and I consider myself lucky. But during parts of my PhD, I became a teaching assistant and so on. I said, getting to the finding things that are not known is very exciting, but then having this knowledge, conveying it to the students is important. And that's when I decided, as I was approaching my finish of my PhD, I said I want to become an academic. And although I had offers from various universities and industry, and the salary gap between academia and industry was very big, still I said, I want to be a scientist, I want to be a researcher, and I have never looked back. I've done a bunch of things, including industrial efforts and policy making and so on. But deep in my heart, my true nature is that of a scientist. So it was an escalation, one step after another, that led me to be a scientist all my life.
Thank you, Professor Yanis. Now,
Yeah, so in my case, it was actually a misunderstanding that has led to a career in science, and that was because I was young. At the time, I was like maybe 12. I didn't have chemistry or physics in school at the time. But I somehow wanted to understand the world. I wanted to understand, the materials, the earth, the stars, and us humans. And my reasoning was everything is made out of molecules and atoms, I heard somewhere, not in school. And so I must study chemistry. Okay, I know the physicists are now always smiling about me when I say that, because they think they go for, the big questions in the universe. But at the time, again, I didn't know. And so, because we didn't have it in school, I built my own laboratory. We built a lab in the cellar at home, at a friend's home in the cellar. And we bought all the chemicals that you need, like concentrated sulfuric acid and potassium nitrate and all these things. And we told the pharmacist who gave us all these chemicals that we are planning to make washing powder for our moms. Of course, we had other plans. The expert have already heard what we are probably aiming for, and that was gunpowder. So we made gunpowder, and one day, like a glass full of gunpowder, a match fell inside, and this whole thing erupted, and a lot of smoke came out of the windows that we had to open quickly. And the pharmacy was located right in the basement of that building. And so the pharmacist came out and was shocked to learn we didn't do washing powder but gunpowder instead. But so I was hooked. It was too late. I mean, I realized now, by that time I understood, okay, chemistry does not provide all the big answers like why are we here, what's the structure and fate of the universe, what's the nature of reality, all these things that I was so interested in then. But I could make fun stuff. And this has continued until today, that I love the ability of chemistry to create. Like, we're not only understanding, okay, maybe not to that level that I wanted to, not only understand our world, the nature of reality, what is matter, but we're also creating it. That's the fun part. My mom is an artist, my dad is an artist, and my older brother is also an artist. So I come kind of from a family of artists, even though my auntie, the sister of my mom, is also a Nobel Prize winner in medicine. But it was more like an artistic family. And in chemistry, I can live that these two sides, like the understanding side and the creative side. So this is how I came into this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, so and my pivotal moment came when I decided to quit the science. So I studied physics in Russia back at the very difficult times, lots of turmoil, probably similar times to Timor a couple of years ago. So everyone thought that you can use the opportunity to earn easy money. So everyone started to open businesses, and same with me. So we were second year in the university, third year in the university. So we thought, okay, that's a good time. Maybe physics is not what our career should be focused on. Maybe business is the opportunity. So I practically quitted the study, quitted the science. We created companies, mainly in construction, and I mean, any company in construction is a bit of a dodgy business, and at that time in Russia it was basically next to criminal activity, and we were doing actually quite well, and all my friends who stay in the business, they are very, very wealthy individuals now. But then after a couple of years, 3 years, I just realized that I'm extremely bored, that this is, okay, you earn money, but what's the point? So, and I really made a conscious decision that I need to go back to science. So that really is something which gives me a kick, gives me a drive. And that was probably the best lesson which I learned, and I'm so lucky that I learned it very early in my career, because there are always lots of temptations on your career path, and you always think whether you should continue in your PhD, you should continue into your postdoc, and it's always very difficult decisions. It's family comes and so on, and I mean, scientists then are not the wealthiest people as well, and you need to move from one city, from one country to another all the time. But the fact that I tried other careers, and despite certain advantages, maybe monetary, financial advantages, I still don't really like it, and I still enjoy my science. Really kept me on the track, and it really helped enormously. I mean, I don't have a standard scientific career. I started my first PhD back in Russia. I didn't finish. I started my second in Holland. I didn't finish. I didn't even bother to start the third one, so I knew it's going to fail, so I went straight into postdoc. But at least with all those things, the experience that you tried other things, and you know that physics or science in general gives you this kick into your nerves and into your brain, without which you cannot survive. That really is the best feeling, and is the experience which you learn once and you cherish for the rest of your life.
Sorry, we have to test. Test. Can you hear me? Test. Okay. Thank you. Just to summarize in Ketum, so our students, who's pergunta nessa, onde se começa a carreira e cientista na e razão oin balune tamba ser e problema buka razão buka resposta ba pergunta ira balune tamba gosta duni buka nessa professor Benjamin ini Ninia be razão to sira pe koko halo be laboratorium eu uma depois laboratorium ne ahihan terbakar. Depois íamos ia falhanço dalam rumah ya ne. Então ida ne mak sirnya história barakona ba sirnya carreira. So it's quite a fascinating story. It's not always like smooth journey. So with that, I want open for the discussion. Colega rumah, estudante rumah agora começa lo que ba pergunta. Liliu ba além estudante sira na be ia buat rumah na be cara khusu. The floor is yours. There is no such thing as stupid questions in the discussion like this. So the floor is yours. I'm open for maybe 3 questions, and then we can see if how far we can go. Colega Sira, ya pergunta kalai. From this, okay, I can see one hands up. Please come, yeah. Bel husu ya tetum depois awajur traduz.
Okay, thank you so much. First time, my name is Gradiana Esperanza Sarmento. I'm from UCT University. Here I have 2 questions, and the first one is, how encourage students to choose science careers? And the second one, what skills are very important for success in a science career?
Can you repeat, please, the second one?
Okay.
What skills are very important for success about science career? Thank you.
I think maybe you go straight with Professor Benjamin. Can you go?
For me?
Yeah.
Or would you mind repeating the question? I'm sorry.
I can probably start.
first
So the first question was how to attract students to do a career in science, and but it's actually related to the second question: what are the skills that are the most essential for a scientist? And I would say that the two are very much related, because the most essential skill is or at least from my opinion, is the curiosity. So there is absolutely no chance that you would go to science because you like the discovery or you like the prizes or you like something else. So there's the curiosity, how to make gunpowder. I should say that it just shows that why I chose physics, because my gunpowder never properly exploded. So just I'm a lousy chemist, but I was trying to do the same, of course, in my house and back in my childhood, and so if something is the process of exploration gives you the kick, gives you this extra adrenaline, then science is your choice, and there is absolutely no chance that you would survive simply because you love prizes or you love the discoveries. Discoveries do happen, but not as often as you would like them to be. So the only way to survive is to love your everyday job, and that's basically coming to your first question of what are how do we attract people, and it's actually getting, from one side it's getting tougher for the young students, because the competition now in science is actually increasing, but at the same time there are many more opportunities, because we see the investments and we see that science now, really good science, is made not only in the universities or in the research centers, in the institutions, but also in the companies, and we see huge investments from startups to the large companies into science. So the scientific career is now not limited by the universities. So there are so many opportunities, really exciting opportunities, which didn't exist in our time. And I think that that's a good opportunity for any student to go for science. It's tough, but it's tough for everyone, and it's you really get a lot of chances for either a discovery or a new startup, a new algorithm. So just there are lots of chances now to succeed.
If I can only add to this, but I would probably give a very similar answer. It's like if somebody tells you it's a good idea to go into science or to study this because you get a nice job later, it's not the right reason, right? Because it has to be ultimately fueled by your own enthusiasm. That's really absolutely essential, and so it's coming, I would say, from a place of love, because ultimately, in order to really do science well, you have to love what you're doing. And this appearance from the outside, they work super hard, is just that. It's an appearance. For us, for me, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like what I want to do anyway. I'm curious, I want to understand, and I want to create, and it's sort of the love of my life. And it's, I think, very, very important to have that. So don't listen to anybody, to your teachers, to your parents, or to a Nobel Prize winner. Follow your own drive, your own interest, and your own curiosity. It's much more important.
What we have been discussing and answering is careers in scientific research, creating new science. And for that, it's actually true. I mean, that's, I don't think it's a skill. I think it's a nature, it's a virtue. It's inside you. You have to love, you have to be creative, you have to be curious. Curiosity is the most important thing, but also patience and diligence. Because out of 100 days, 99 of these days, you will be depressed because your experiments, your algorithms, your models do not work. But the 100th day when something will work, then the happiness that you feel doesn't compare to anything else. So you have to be patient, and that's another different, and this creativity, how do you inspire creativity, or even to applied science? You mentioned about wondering about the stars. The stars played a lot of role in my mind, although I was always an engineer, but I always look at the stars, and my parents played a good way, trying to understand, what could it be there, and how it was formed, and the distance, and so on. So stars and other experiments with, well, not gunpowder, but with other powders, or physical things, having the pendulum and the two balls hit, and then the other two balls on the other end. This is miracle. So this is physics. So by having to the young, answering the first and second question together, by bringing, by showing to the young people the beautiful or the peculiar, the curious things that happen in physics or chemistry, or for me, with few lines of code, you create something that is artificial, but still it's working. You see, it's moving. It is amazing. But you can be a scientist without being a researcher. Just finishing your undergraduate degree and going to industry and doing scientific work is very important. I think for Timor-Leste, at the stage where it is now, this may be even more important. By going around the SciTech Expo 2 days ago, I spoke from people from the petroleum department, or I don't remember what the name of it, and they were showing with pride how they used PipeSim, which is a simulator for pipes, to understand and measure based on a whole bunch of parameters how a pipe should be constructed from the offshore drilling to the inner one. And you need to be a scientist to do this, even though you won't be discovering new knowledge. With the same experiments, with the same, you still need the curiosity, you still need the discipline to go through this. So that's the path. That's the path.
Thank you, professors. I think this is not only applied for science, but also for all other careers. Just atu hatete pergunta ohin kona about ohin sa atu at encourage estudantes here para investe para belebe pursue career ka investe a career edanene hawanay hoje explicação ohin nene e questão tudo mais importante ida magna ita tem que have curiosidade ne buka atu hatene buat phone ida segundo mag ita tem que have domingo paixão ba ita ne serviço buat nebe ita halo sir professor sir na halo ne la os tamba osa ne importante bet mas bet tamba sir gosta halo e descobre buat phone ida nama importante e tem que paixão ba ita ne buat nebe ita lo na não é hawa tem kata la os ba serviço esse mundo ciência de mas bet é serviço todo e tam pergunta rumah awan ida ne colega tu suka colega feto ne ya belahus ya teto mas sedia agno ya inglês salamos pois makita ajuda malu bela equipa técnica bela ajuda ela.
So good afternoon. My name is Angelica da Costa Siqueira, and I study in IBC Bidau Kadirun, and I'm 14 years old. So my question is about how long does it take for a scientist to finish one experiment? I want to know it. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sim.
Okay. The next question. Well, either day,
so I am, thank you very much. So it is an honor to me to be here. So I'm Adriano Ventura Elo, as a final year student from Faculty of Exact Science Natural at Universidade Nasional Timor-Leste. So my course focus on maths, physics, and chemistry. At the same time, my specialization focus on maths in statistics and data analysis. So my question is, how do I integrate my specialization into the chemistry and physics as well? So it is my question. So my second question about during my course, enroll my course in my faculty. So the teacher said me like the most difficult science in history in lifetime is physics. So may you tell us some secret about the physics itself and some advice to encourage for young people around that Timor-Leste to great for a study for the science. So it is my question. Thank you very much.
I would go directly to the professor, to the panelist.
Okay, so I think we can bring those two questions together. So how long does it take to do one experiment, and whether physics or chemistry or computer science are the most difficult ones? And it really depends. And some of the most beautiful experiments could be very simple. That's really and that's how science works. So you basically find a small feature which shouldn't be there, which really violates all your previous understanding of the system, and then you try to amplify and you bring it to the absolute simplicity. And most of the beautiful experiments really can be quite short, but of course in the lab it can be anything. So. One of our experiments which we did with graphene. So these days it takes 1 minute to do it. So if we knew the recipe, it takes you 1 minute to make graphene, and then you get the Nobel Prize. Unfortunately, it took us like more than a year to in the first place to realize this. And experiments typically between the idea and the actual publication can take months, sometimes years. So it really depends. But there is quite often this beautiful moment of understanding, and so that's what you are looking for. That's what gives you the most enjoyment, and that's the answer to the second question from the gentleman, that whether it should be difficult or one branch of science is more difficult than another. I don't think so. I think, and especially, we are really living in the very interesting time when the speed of science is increasing, fortunately or unfortunately. I don't know whether it is good or not, but it's absolutely impossible to predict where the next breakthrough is going to happen. It can happen in AI, in data science. It can happen in biology. So who knows? It's and in that respect, I think it's actually wrong to look at science which branches so much. It's the unfortunate that it's becoming more specialized. But those people who look at the whole science as in its unity, those are going to win, and those are going to understand and create the most beautiful and the simplest experiments.
Professor Yanis?
Exactly what Konstantin said, with one little thing that I'll come to the end. So I absolutely agree with you. Experiments can take a little bit or years, and there are tremendous challenges in all sciences. One thing I want to add is that often the discovery is not the goal of the experiment you are doing. Accidentally, you see something that was not your goal, you're trying something else, it catches your attention, and that the outlier, that serendipitous thing is then that you go and study and do other experiments that happen. So serendipity is part of the nature of discovery, and you have to be open to look into wherever you sense the gold, even if it's not in the direction that you're looking for. And I think graphene, from what I've read, to some extent, you were not looking for graphene. It was something else, and some phenomenon popped up. Penicillin is like this, and so on. The one thing I wanted to possibly differ a little bit from what you said, you're absolutely right. It's unfortunate that science is becoming more and more specialized, and you have to become a physicist of this, of that, of the other, or a computer science in data optimization and so on. But on the other hand, we see recently also some openings from one science going into the other, and characteristic end results are that 2 years ago, computing people got the Nobel Prize in Physics, and computational people, for computational stuff, people got the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, and this year, a physicist got the Turing Award. So you see some openings that, yes, we have to be specialized, but for the grand scheme of things, bigger teams have to come together to address the bigger challenges, and they have to be interdisciplinary. So you need the specialization, but maybe bigger teams to do big science. So generalization of the specializations.
Benjamin?
Yeah, concerning the time of an experiment, how long does it take? I also have an interesting story to tell you. Well, first of all, I'm in the Max Planck Society, which is really special because the way it operates is you get the funding guaranteed for decades, right? It's very unique, and we don't have that anywhere else in the world. And that enables you really to do long-term experiments. We have a program that I initiated in 2007, so this is almost 20 years old now, and now is coming to fruition. We get super exciting results, often, on an idea that I developed literally 20 years ago. So sometimes science can be very slow, but it can also be incredibly fast, and then it can be actually that you are the rate determining step for a scientific discovery to take place, for an experiment to be done, because you were worried about it. And this was for me the case in the early days of my career. I just became an assistant professor in 1999, and I was planning an experiment to try a new type of catalysts that people have thought was kind of impossible, or at least did not really consider to be a good idea. And before doing the experiment, even though the experiment itself was actually easy to do, I had weeks of sleepless nights asking myself during the night, is that a good idea to bet my career on something that nobody else is doing? And one morning I got up and I found the courage to do the experiment, and already on that same day I knew it will work. It works actually. Not like to 100%, and not that this would bring me ultimately to Stockholm, but it was clear, this whole idea actually is valid, and that was super rewarding. So yeah, nowadays what I learned from that is when I am the slow step and when I'm nervous about whether or not my idea is crazy or not, I'm at a good place. I should be at that place. This is my job, basically. I have to be at a place of uncertainty. If I would be so certain this experiment is going to work, then it's probably boring. Usually it's boring. Yeah? So I try now to find this in my day-to-day work. Of course, coming from a slightly different angle now. I have tenure now. I have a safe job, and I have guaranteed funding for the next decade, so I'm not worried anymore about my life and my career. But still, I want to be at a place of uncertainty and doubts. That's my homeland.
Thank you. Professor Panel, awanin buat important la iya tempo kala iya tempo na determinado ba kona ba atalo experiment né? Idane depende balu di experiment balu lalais balu mas han tempo clear. Mas be awanin assunto importante ro ene cientista sira senya be descobrimento nela os ultimate goal, os finalidade do seu serviço. Basira no mínimo. Awanin importante ira mas o professor Benjaminian hateten kata dalam rumah ni ia ideia na be hanas itnya kal bula ko ituan ka ia incerteza ne cria curiosidade basira atu buka hetan awanin idane how bel husutan emai ita se ia tempo emai ira tanda so se parte ne ohin ia kalai awanin yo se parte ne desculpa ohin ia idane de sebel pergunta ira ya colega ne
The kids from the other side are all here.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You move, migrate, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Sebella Lalaiset, yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cipriana. I'm from UCT, University Catholic of Timor. My question is to Arfitso Konstantin Novosov. My question is, how did you manage to choose graphene research that ultimately won the Nobel Prize in Physics? And what challenge did you face during the graphene research? Thank you. This is my question.
Well, that's a good. The answer already been given that the serendipity plays a very important role in our research. The only problem is that you cannot rely on the serendipity alone. You have to work hard on something. So we've been working on graphite, and we're trying to search for quantum effects. in thin graphitic films. And at that time, we didn't know about anything about graphene. We only knew one thing, that graphene shouldn't exist. So that's a full stop. But when you were excited about something, and so we were seeing some interesting quantum effects there. So it kept us going, kept us making further and further experiment. And then one day we got into some very puzzling experiment. And the only way to explain them that you actually get exactly a monolayer of graphene, because it's of course you cannot measure it. So it is serendipitous by up to some extent. The only problem is that you cannot. If you sit there doing nothing, it's not going to happen to you whether serendipity or not. So you really have to work hard on some challenging problems, and then you have a chance to discover something.
Thank you. Can I have just two more? Sorry, I know all of us want to, but two more questions. Yes. Can you just one question, please? Pergunta dari Alin. Alin, bel husu mas pergunta dari.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Avelino da Cruz, and I study at Colégio de São José Operário. So my question is referred to Mr. Constantin. Motivation, what motivates you when Mr. left science to work in a company and returned to science today? Can become a scientist, because in Timor-Leste, many people, many young people will stop their science to find a job because they come with the ideas that not school also get a job and a school also get a job. So thank you.
Yeah, I hope my colleagues are going to help here as well. But okay, so for me, it was important to try different professions and just explore different opportunities. And business, I have absolutely nothing against business, and lots of my friends are very good businessmen and they create some innovative solution in business. But it just happens to be that it's not my piece of cake. It's something to do with how your brain is wired. So some people are better in engineering, some people are better in science, some people are better in business, and you cannot do anything without it. It's the wiring of your brain. And you cannot say that one activity is better than another, but you need to learn this. You cannot rely on your parents to tell you, on your professors to tell you. You really have to realize what excites you the most. And I was lucky to try it, and realizing this. Lots of people live with the profession chosen by someone else for them, and not realizing that they're not happy.
Before other professors may jump in, can we take at least two more questions, and then we will ramp up this session. So we go to them, so they might ask the same question, and then we take all the questions, and then we answer once.
Okay. Just for this, just to help, I absolutely agree with what you said. I just want to push more. I've tried many things that I said. I think I can do a whole bunch of kinds of things, but the best thing is for me science. But you mentioned you can innovate in business. The word innovation exists everywhere. There is scientific innovation, there is technological innovation, social innovation, cultural innovation. You can innovate anywhere. The thing is what attracts you. So I absolutely agree with you.
You want to add anything to that to discuss?
Nope, I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Please, the next question. Ita foi pergunta tolo, depois we take 3 questions from them, and then we answer once. Yeah, Bella.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Armina da Costa, a student of Catholic University of Timor-Leste. And my question is, what is the key to turning a simple idea into a Nobel Prize winning discovery? And thank you so much.
Can you repeat?
Or you repeat if you understood.
How to turn a single idea?
My question is, what is the key to turning a simple idea into a Nobel Prize winning discovery? Thank you.
We take another questions? Yes?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adelino. I'm a student from Colégio São José Operário. As someone who dreams of becoming a scientist, I'm worried about my future. If AI can analyze data, generate hypotheses, and make discoveries, what will differentiate human scientists from AI? And how should the younger generation prepare for the future? Thank you.
That's a very good question. The next, can we say this is the last, and then we will see, yeah.
Well, my name is Darfon Jesus Mendes Pereira. I'm a student from Colégio São José Operário. And my question, how do I know my career in science? Because I'm confused what to become. My fathers want me to become a doctor, but I have my own desire. I have a dream from childhood to become a pilot. But in school, my physics and mathematics is not good, so I'm confused about what to become.
So it's more of a challenge that they face in the school. Yeah. Can we go to answer? Hey, hold on up. Yeah, can we go to answer? Yeah.
Maybe to the one idea that turns into a Nobel Prize. I mean, probably many of us had that experience, but I can assure you one idea is usually not enough. So it's good to have one really revolutionary, crazy idea that has that potential, but it's definitely much better if you have more than one. When you start a career in science and you want to really achieve that, you have a whole bunch of crazy ideas that would ultimately bring you to Stockholm. So then my recommendation is really investigate clearly if you cannot provide a few more questions than that one.
Yeah, those were three very challenging questions. Let me ask the simplest one, and then I'll leave my colleagues to answer the most difficult one. So the first question, how to turn your idea into the Nobel Prize winning discovery. The best advice I ever got in my life was from Klaus von Klissen, who got his Nobel Prize in '85, I think, for the quantum Hall effect. He said, Costa, if you ever think about winning a Nobel Prize, you will never get one. So basically, if you think that if you work in science for the sake of discovery or for the sake of prize, it's not going to happen. And I mean, I know it sounds trivial, but this is very much true. So just it's really important, and that's partly to the most challenging third question. So, but for the second one, whether AI is going to replace scientists, everyone is thinking about this. I've been working in AI for science for the last 5-6 years, and it's my expectations changed sign. It's not only by the magnitude, but by the direction as well. I hope not. I hope that the discovery is the human prerogative, because it's a phase transition always. It's the discovery. It's always the creation of a new language, and those events are rare. So probably we don't have enough data to teach the AI for that. But I don't have any strong data on that. So I don't have anything to confirm my expectation. Maybe I'm wrong. And guys, I'll leave you for the last question to answer. I'm not going to make a decision on the student life here.
You seem to have understood the third question. Can you repeat it?
Right. So the third question is that the young gentleman loves science. His parents thinking about some alternative career for him. His teachers are not encouraging. So how do we encourage and how do we provide the encouragement for science?
Okay, the first question, I don't have a Nobel Prize, but I work for the love of the work, for the love of the science. I will never get a Nobel Prize because I'm in computing. Turing Award, I'm not thinking about it. The prizes and any other award that exists are a result. They are not a goal. It can happen. It's a side effect. Will AI replace scientists? No. It will be, currently it's a research assistant. It helps you advance your productivity, explore many more options and so on. I believe they will reach at a point of level, and already we've seen it in special cases, where even a scientific hypothesis is formulated. The methodology is chosen, the experiments are set up. So a whole bunch of things are happening, but again, we are not there yet for an AI scientist. I believe that at some point, at least in certain areas, we will get there, but the creativity, as Costa said, is a prerogative of the human. I don't know if we will call creativity what will be happening with the AI, but I believe very useful scientific results will be coming from AI in the future. I don't want to put the size. But the creativity that will be completely off the track and off the beaten path, the tremendous serendipity, okay, I will not come from AI. So we'll have AI researchers and human researchers working in a lab together, interacting, but we will never be replaced. And it's not because of this. For the last one, follow your dreams. Follow your dreams.
I maybe add to the AI question that always comes, and it always comes from kids, which is somehow surprising. I mean, you're a young boy, or young man. Why don't you first try to develop your own human intelligence, right? Read and learn and develop curiosity and drive for science before you worry about if AI is going to replace you. There are other jobs that definitely will be replaced first. I would more worry, for example, about lawyers and certain business people, computer programmers and doctors and so on. I think there is always space for human creativity and original questions that somehow the AI doesn't come up with. At least I hope so. But having said this, I also worry a little bit like everybody else. And so I have a team in Japan actually, and they are building an autonomous laboratory which perceives the ideas, conducts the experiments, and analyzes the data, all in sort of one AI-based robot cycle, just in case, because I don't want to miss out.
Thank you. Há importante a pergunta itu ini. Unsa transforma ideia debat menan Nobel né, dan set objetivo né, finalidade né, mak atu buka Nobel né, né dalam rumah tu ikut setelah lahetantan. Ida né. Segundo, ida quando ba AI né, há statement itu importante lah lima orang né. Antes ita preocupa ba AI, ita tinggi hanoi dulu ko satu desenvolve human intelligence, develop human intelligence first. Ita ni lihat ita hakere, kle, sirane, ita desenvolve ita ni an. Hanoi ida nama important. Maybe the last session for this. Please, Belle pergunta.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Geneva. I'm studying at Externato San Jose. So my question is, what science career do you think will be most needed in the world 10 years from now, but no one is talking about yet? And how can young people in our region do science that helps the world without having to leave home? That's all my question. Thank you.
Okay, so I love to end with one dream reaction of mine that I would think could change the world, and that is an artificial photosynthesis in which a catalyst converts the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere back into oxygen gas on the one hand and carbon on the other hand, maybe graphite or coal or something like that. That would be a reaction that if it would work on scale, it could really save us. It potentially could stop climate change, and it would create a huge amount of kind of free electricity, because we know how to convert coal into electricity. And we could also transform the chemical industry into a sustainable, completely sustainable solar, coal-based chemical industry. And last but not least, the climate change we could stop by just digging the extra coal that we generate from the atmosphere back into it where it came from. So that would be something for the next generation to work on, I would propose.
Professor Yanis?
I would say something, climate change and addressing the climate issue would be also from the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Goal 13, I think, is the most important one to address. But bringing in my technology, I think digital twins, actual digital twins for climate, for health, for machines, having the digital twin and being able to accurately see various scenarios of addressing these things would be something that will touch all sciences, but also everything about our environment and activity of life. So, digital twins.
Yeah, I think complexity will be one of the buzzing words in the next 10 years, starting with complex materials, complex quantum systems, complex reactions, but eventually going towards the biological systems, the way our brain operates. So it's probably longer than 10 years, but we need to start thinking about it now.
Thank you. I hope this is the last questions. How many? They
keep growing. More and more coming.
No, can we have, I know, but can we have just two more? Because we are running out of the time.
Okay.
So, two more questions, and then we ramp up.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Marquez. I'm currently attending QSI International School of Delhi, and I'm 15 years old. It is a great honor to be here today, and I have one question for you. In your years of discovery, science, and experiments, was there a moment where you felt like you were at a dead end? If so, do you have any advice for the youth around the world in order to succeed in science?
Okay,
thank you.
Then another one, can we have the last one? Sorry. The last one, yes.
Good afternoon, my name is Alexa. I'm a 10th grade student at Escola Portuguesa de Dili, and I would like to ask the following questions. So based on your perspective, what are the areas in science that need to be focused on more these days? Thank you.
Yeah, what are the, can we take, are you fine? Okay. Yes. Two more, play, okay.
Okay, thank you all. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be standing here and asking a question from you all. My name is Bayumburt, and I'm a student in QSI Delhi International School. And my question is, in your career of making breakthroughs, what did you learn from your biggest failure? And what advice would you give for the youth who are afraid to make mistakes in science? Thank you.
The last one?
Hello, sir. It's an honor to meet you all. I just want to say that science today is usually done by huge teams, but prizes like the Nobel Prize are given to only a few people. So do you think the way we recognize scientists need to change? And secondly, does the prize change the way your career was?
So,
I've got, there is a very nice story by Leo Szilard. Leo Szilard was the engineer behind the Manhattan Project, and he got a very nice story about prizes. So I recommend everyone to read this. But yes, you're right. So I think the way how do we recognize scientists, especially young scientists, because they really got very tough time now, is it needs to change, and so we need to give them support during the early days.
Let me say that there have been many times of disappointment and feeling of failure. And for that, you need patience, you need persistence. If your instinct tells you something, follow it. And even if you're not finding something where you're going, go there. Many occasions like this. The most important research that I have done based on what people say and the impact was not what I was looking for. It happened after many failures in a different way. And one of the questions that asked about, I think, others and so on, science is not a solitary work. Yes, if you're doing mathematics, maybe one person can do it, but be in a team, form a team if you're becoming more senior, have many people around you that are different from you. And in a team, first of all, you become more resilient and one gives courage to the other when something is not going right. But interdisciplinarity is a key thing to make progress and also to have different ideas coming there.
Yeah, the question was, what does it take to have a successful career in science? I think there's many things that are required, but by far the most important ingredient, in my opinion, I've mentioned it before, is enthusiasm. Why? Because if you manage to make what you truly love your work, you live a happy life. If you pursue what you love to do anyway, that's the definition of happiness. And now people will pay you for that, right? They will give you a lab, they will give you funding, they will give you a nice career while you are pursuing what you want to pursue anyway. So that's my strongest recommendation. And I would even generalize this beyond science to any area. If your favorite thing is playing football or if it's cutting hair, then become a hairstylist. Why not? I mean, you will be a happy person. So I think there's no problem with this. But the big ticket, in my opinion, is really to have that enthusiasm for science, because science in itself is so enjoyable because we learn new things that nobody has seen before, right? That is the joy of science, discovering some new phenomenon that nobody has seen before, and in an ideal way, even being able to manipulate it such that we create a new world. This combination is just sort of unbeatable, in my opinion. Thank you.
With that, I just want to, these are very important related to the questions. Antes, iranabe itahatene iranabe sucesso serheta novel, mas antes ne sir ia falhanço lubuk ira. Nabe ita lahatene, no ine importante la lema be ita atu. Compreende ila osias mundo ciência de me be nyamor, mas be ba sabe magne. Ba ita sabe magne. Paixão ba arena be ser serviço, senha persistência atu continua coco. No mos entusiasmo no mos curiosidade ba atu coco na fatim buat ne be sira halo. With that, let us give a round of applause to distinguished panelists here, Nobel laureates. His Excellencies, Mr. President of the Republic, Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Mr. José Ramos Horta, is here. Distinguished panelists, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think it is not the point of this conversation to answer all of your questions and to give that the country is facing. But the point of this conversation is to promote and inspire Timorese students here to start investing in their career in science. As the Prime Minister stated yesterday in the news, Timor-Leste does not want only to be the consumer of the knowledge and innovation around the world, but hopefully by the next 1 or 2 decades, the world will be benefited from some of the young scientists or discovery made by Timor-Leste. But this, it will require the right ecosystem and government policy. It is our dream that in the next 2 years, some of Timorese young people would make their name in the global stage, as the panelists and many others who have traveled long way to Timor-Leste and joined us during this tremendous 2 days. With that, I thank you for the distinguished panelists here who have made my work easier by keeping on time. And also, let's give a round of applause to our audience who stayed here and students and who have asked the questions with English and understood by our panelists. So, ito buat terus pergunta English, la precisa traduz. It's a quite, as a Timorese, I'm proud to see that. And so with that, the time and the floor, I give back to the committee. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Guteriana Desneves. And thank you, Professor Benjamin Lees and Professor Yanis Ioannidis and Professor Konstantin Novoselov for sharing your experiences with the next generation. And importantly, thank you all to all of the young people who participated in today's discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be concluding our Science for Development Summit very shortly, whilst we're waiting for the arrival of His Excellency the Vice Prime Minister. Please remain seated. Ita turna fatin de ita hintang presença si Sua Excelência Vice Primeiro Ministro tamat ya. Okay. Namo Sua Excelência Presidente da República ihaneona. Your Excellencies, distinguished Nobel laureates, scientists, international guests, ladies and gentlemen. Over these 2 days, we have heard perspectives spanning science and economic transformation, agriculture and food systems, health and human development, digital security, artificial intelligence, scientific education, and the careers of the next generation. At the center of these discussions has been a common idea that scientific knowledge achieves its greatest value when it is placed in the service of people and development. It is therefore fitting that we conclude the summit with the person whose vision and leadership brought this gathering together. But beforehand, let's watch another dance performance by Wiku Wehali. A round of applause. Ita ba sa lima leba apresentação dança turmai, molo kita tama ba conclusão husi ita ninha Simeira. Thank you very much, Hali. Once again, Your Excellencies, distinguished Nobel laureates, welcome back, scientists and international guests, ladies and gentlemen. And now to conclude the summit with the person whose vision and leadership brought this gathering together, it is my great honor to invite His Excellency, the President of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Dr. José Ramos Horta, to deliver the closing plenary and formally close the Science for Development Summit 2026.
Please be seated. Thank you. I would like, I start by, before my formal remarks here, to tell a bit of a difference between the process of the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, how that happened, the process, and in the Academy of Science in Stockholm. Obviously, there are major differences. Difference in the sense that in the Academy of Sciences, yes, you have to produce irrefutable data for many years, and there is no possibility of interference, lobby, petitions, and so on. Over the years, of course, I became very familiar with the Nobel Peace Prize process. Of course, the Nobel Committee in Oslo, the Norwegians are very independent-minded people, and they absolutely reject pressure. And, but sometimes the Norwegian government in the past put enormous pressure on the Nobel Committee to award in one particular year the prize to a particular group. In this case, I'm not sharing any secret. You might recall when the Nobel Committee gave the award to Yitzhak Rabin, Shimon Peres, and Arafat. That caused an uproar and a split in the Nobel Committee. And I do not go more into details. And that happened in '94. In '94, the Nobel Committee, as always, secretly, had made already a decision, because usually by August, they make the decision. And the decision was not to the three from Palestine and Israel. It was to another person. I will not enter into details here. And one member of the Peace Committee, Nobel Peace Committee, called Christensen, he was the one who publicly dissented and resigned from the committee. He was very angry that the Norwegian government intervened forcefully to award that year, '94, to Yitzhak Rabin, Shimon Peres, and Yasser Arafat. I don't comment on the merit of the three. I think they were all very courageous in doing what they did. But that the Nobel Committee bowed to pressure, maybe understandably, from the Norwegian government. Because it's believed that sometimes that a peace process requires the Peace Prize to push the process ahead. So one day I was in Oslo after the '96 award that went to me and Bishop Bellu. I was sitting on the sidewalk, and in Oslo. And the next day, the front page news said, Christiansen, referring to the one who resigned, now he's happy. He forgave the Nobel Committee because his favorite nominee got the prize. Again, I'm not saying who, but that's what I say. But in 95, I went to Norway a few times, and mindful that you cannot lobby, I was always extremely careful. And in going there, I intended only to try to draw attention to Timor and to the Church of Timor and to the role of the bishop. To my surprise, one of the prominent members of the Nobel Committee agreed to talk with me. And he came to my hotel, the cheapest hotel in Oslo. The cheapest in Oslo, it could be like 4-star in Timor or in Bali. And I was, at the time, I was not very well known. And the Nobel Committee member, he came. Today I can say his name, Gunnar Stoltze. For many years, Vice President of the Nobel Committee, Lutheran Bishop of Oslo, and so on. I was so surprised that he would come to my hotel to see a humble Timorese. And I was in full attention, vigilance, telling myself, don't make any mistake. Don't appear to be lobbying for Timor. I was aware that could be disastrous. So, and Gunnar Stoltze at that time, he himself, he was actively mediating the conflict in Guatemala. So I pretended I wanted to learn about the conflict in Guatemala. And I asked him questions about his role in Guatemala. He was totally surprised. And he explained. And then after 15, 20 minutes, he asked me about Timor-Leste. And I was careful, I talked generalities. Then he asked about the church. I talked about the role of the church. And then he asked about Bishop Velu, and I talked about Bishop Velu. And that was in, it was in 95. In 95, the media in Norway, the days before the announcement, they were all talking about front page. Bishop Velu was, I was not, I was no mention of me. But Bishop Velu, the church, front page in Norwegian media, that he was going to be the winner. On the photo, there was Jimmy Carter and some other people. The Bishop of Chiapas, Mexico, and so on. And, but I was there, I was known already to some of the media, they knew that somehow I'm connected with the church, or with the bishop, whatever. So, and the people who know firsthand who is going to win that morning is the NRK, Norwegian Broadcasting Television. So they called me in a hotel. Can you come 8 a.m. to our studio near the Nobel Committee place? So I went. There are so many journalists, and they will say, please, when after the announcement you talk to us. And I said, listen, how do you know that it's going to be, we are going to win the prize? Yeah, NRK called you, that's because, well, that was 95, October 95. The announcement came, it was not for us. It was for the Pugwash group. You're probably familiar, the Pugwash Conference of Nuclear Scientists, etc. Pugwash is a small town somewhere in Canada where this group, they meet over the years, since the 50s or so, to talk about nuclear war, prevention, and so on. So they got it. And those who won the prize, they were like, each of them like 80 years old. And I didn't, so when I came out, well, A, I didn't have an interview with NRK. B, not a single journalist was there. And I was with one person. And that person was the one that promoted me a lot without telling me. Young people, in the 80s, everybody would know about him. Morten Harket, the lead singer of the rock group called Aha. In the 80s, they sold more records than the Beatles. So he was the one who promoted me in Norway. So I was with him. And I told him, Morten, I'm not coming ever again to Norway. Because when you lose, God, you feel so lonely. And I was alone in the winter in Oslo. It is dark by 4 p.m., it's already dark. And I was alone in my hotel. So in 96, October 96, I was running a course that I created in the University of New South Wales in Sydney, and called Diplomacy and Human Rights. I told my co-director, well, my deputy, Laksiri Fernand from Sri Lanka, I said, Laksiri, I'm not coming tomorrow. That was Thursday. I told him tomorrow, Friday, I'm not coming. I'm going to play tennis the weekend. And of course, Laksiri, you know, since I didn't come, he also decided not to come. The Nobel Committee, they always phone you. You probably know, they phone the winners a few hours in advance to alert you won the prize. Well, they had only my office number at the university. They call, no one answered. Friday, I was home, very miserable apartment in the suburbs of Sydney, very poor. The phone rang. I was babysitting a niece. She was only 3 years old. She'd never leave me alone. We were alone in the house. I moved 1 meter away. She said, Uncle, where are you going? I go to the left, answer, Uncle, where are you going? Follow me everywhere. And the phone rang. I went to the phone. And a Portuguese journalist, Luis Nascimento from Antena 1, I think, in Lisbon, he said, Mr. Ramos Horta, you won the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize. President Sampaio, Adelino Gomez, everybody online to comment. Please, can you comment? I said, wait a minute. So, anyways, the day before, a good friend from Washington called me. Jose, what do you think? Who is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize? I told Arnold, I don't care. They can give it to anyone they want, a whole list of people. I don't want to hear about it, because, God, I had enough of the previous year of dissatisfaction. But then I nominated, over the years, nominated some people. I nominated Muhammad Yunus. He came to Timor before he won the prize. He won in 96, so 2006. I nominated 2-3 times. I nominated President Kim Dae-jung, South Korea. He had been nominated many times, but never got it. And I knew how you frame the argument. Why Kim Dae-jung and why now? He won the election in December 97. I nominated him, I think, 2002 or 3 or 2001, I don't remember now. Sitting in a hotel room in Oslo, in Seoul, with his assistant, Professor Han Jung Kim, and we wrote the nomination. And he won. Kim Dae-jung insisted that I go with him to Oslo. The Nobel Committee then invited me. As you know, they never invite previous winners. That year, they invite me to join Kim Dae-jung. During the banquet, with the king, with everybody, one member of the Nobel Committee turned to me and asked, would you nominate Jimmy Carter? I know why they asked that question. Jimmy Carter had been nominated many, many times, but never got it because of the problem of Timor. When Jimmy Carter took office in '76, in the election then, weapons sales to Indonesia increased by more than 100%. And Noam Chomsky, many of you know from MIT, linguist, dedicated so many years of his life to Timor, and he campaigned, denouncing Jimmy Carter. And the lady asked me, would you nominate Jimmy Carter? I knew why the question. And I said, why not? I cannot judge a person for some wrong in his policy. Besides, so I called the Carter Center in Atlanta. I said, please send me information about the post-presidency, the White House, the post-presidency, what Jimmy Carter did in mediation, in promoting democracy, human rights, the Carter Human Rights Center in Atlanta, all of that. I nominate, and that year he got the prize. So anyway, this is only to say a bit of some people, I remember in those years, one Swiss gentleman, he collected 1 million signatures to nominate the Bishop of Chiapas, Mexico. I said, oh God, what a futile exercise. One signature is enough from the eligible people. Of course, 1 million people who became aware of Chiapas, but so all of these, I want to say, the big difference between and how many times the Nobel Committee failed. And sometimes they are right and when I hear some leaders in the world publicly lobby, I say, that's the biggest mistake. And one president in the world won the prize. The Nobel Committee, there was so much criticized, almost unanimous criticism. Then someone in the Nobel Committee also called me here in Timor many years ago. Oh, President, can you help us? Everybody criticizing our decision. Can you write a statement? I did a statement, God, to try to defend what I personally didn't believe. I did my best, and it's published in one of my books. A year later, when I read again my statement, I said, oh God, how could I have written something like this? Because it was impossible to defend that decision on the Nobel Committee. Anyway, I don't elaborate more. Once again, thank you so much for all of you to come here in Delhi for the science development, in development. As we bring this remarkable gathering to a close, we can reflect on several days of inquiry, conversation, and discovery. And I hope new friendships and partnerships that will continue long after we leave this room. I have to say, one of your colleagues, he just finished one session here. He is a professor, I think, in physics from Russia. He won, I think he was only 28 when he won the prize. He came here last year, the year before, and he was so touched with Timor-Leste that he offered 2 scholarships, his own, for 2 Timorese to do PhD with him in Singapore. And I channeled the thing to Unteli. I don't know whether our university managed to find 2 PhDs to go to Singapore, fully covered by him, everything. Not the university, not Singapore government. It was him. I don't mention his name because I don't know whether he would like. He came here with his 2 daughters. And I saw him again just now. I was so pleased to see him. We have been honored to host so many extraordinary scientists, thinkers, and leaders. I personally been sitting here a few times, mesmerized, and you put it so well, so simple, that even lay people like me understand what you are talking about. And I even thought, God, science is not so difficult. But I was always bad in math. My math teacher hated me because I was really dumb, And I hated her because she hated me. So we have called this summit a summit on science for development. Science transforms our existence. And thanks to you, some of us doing treatment to slow down aging. And and we must always remember a very simple question. How do these advances help those who need them most? For science to serve humanity, its benefits cannot belong only to the countries, universities, companies, or individuals who can best afford them. A discovery in a lab thousands of kilometers away can also matter to a farmer in Baucau, Hermera, a teacher in Hermera, a child, anywhere in Timor-Leste or wherever. This is where science becomes development, when we harness knowledge and experience. For countries like ours, it is not abstract discussion. When we restore our independence, we have to rebuild institutions, schools, roads, clinics. We have made enormous progress, but poverty, malnutrition, stunting, food insecurity, unequal access to opportunity remain challenges. All of these, they require knowledge, they require education, they require research, they require courage to apply knowledge to the real problems of ordinary people. But understanding is not enough. Knowledge must reach the communities that need it. Technology must be affordable. Research partnership must build local capacity rather than permanent dependence. Someone asks why? Someone asks why not? Someone asks what if we tried something different? And one of us can ask this question. Do not imagine that science belongs to somebody else. Do not imagine that discovery happens only in Boston, Oxford, Singapore, Tokyo, or Beijing. The capacity to observe, to question, to experiment, and to imagine belong to every human being. Over these past days, we have heard many ideas that should stay with us. We have heard that science must begin with the real problems of our people face, that no child should have their future diminished by malnutrition when knowledge already exists to improve nutrition, seeds, food production, and management of water, that our greatest national resource is our people, and that we must identify and develop the talent already exists in Timor-Leste, and while artificial intelligence and digital technologies offer extraordinary opportunities, we must embrace them with wisdom. As Princess Sonang reminded us yesterday, scientific progress must go hand in hand with human responsibility. And our Prime Minister reminded us Timor-Leste cannot allow itself to be left behind as the world enters a new technological era. Perhaps the most important lesson from this discussion is that development is ultimately about people and the sharing of ideas. The purpose of gatherings such as this should not simply be to bring knowledge to Timor, it should be to create knowledge with Timor-Leste. It is with that spirit that I hope the relationship began here in Dili continue well beyond this summit. So all of you, consider Timor-Leste your second home, or third home, and anytime, any time. For young romantic couples, Timor-Leste is great, is ideal place. We have the best biodiversity in the world. That's not from me, from Conservation International, the richest biodiversity in the world. Our corals are unbleached, no pollution. We don't have chemical industries. We don't have overfishing. We don't use dynamite fishing that some countries in the region use over the years, and they blow up the corals. And if you don't like the seat is too hot, you don't like to get too suntan, you go to the mountain. Mount Ramelau is 10,000 feet. Sir David is 10,000 feet. And for you, it would be probably, it would be walk over like in a few minutes. And I always prefer to say 10,000 feet and not 3,000 meters, because 10,000 feet sound more, impressive. It could also, some people might be saying, wow, it looks like the Himalaya there. And but you can actually just walk up easily. And for those who are not so young, great place to rest, to write your books, your research, and so on. And we give every facility. Many of our senior guests have generally spoken about remaining connected to Timor-Leste. And I say, please, all of you can feel connected to Timor-Leste. We'd be delighted to create, and we hope our government and myself will take the initiative, an advisory council on science, technology, and development, not as a formal or burdensome institution, but simply as a network through which those who wish to remain engaged can stay connected with our government, universities, researchers, and young people. There should be no heavy structures or obligations. And I have to say, my dear friend, just yesterday I emailed a friend about the idea, and beyond this, to have a technological university. I even already spotted the land. And he said, send me the detailed information. I'll be very happy to finance it. So it will not be difficult to finance something that carry your credibility with us. You lend your credibility. As we close this summit, my commitment is that what began here in Dili does not end here. Let the conversation continue, let the partnership grow, and let the ideas discussed here become practical action in our schools, communities, universities, and institutions. Science gives humanity extraordinary power. Our responsibility is to ensure that it also gives us wisdom, and that its benefits and opportunities are enjoyed not by a fortunate few, but by all, no matter where they begin their voyage of this, no matter where they may begin their voyage of discovery. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And for the final official closing, we have the Babadook here, and we invite all our distinguished guests and speakers, international guests, to also join Mr. President at the front, please. And the speakers, yeah. Mr. President.
Join us, join me here. We do together, closing this conference.
And Vice Prime Minister and members of the government. Al favor, membros do governo, senhor. Bamedia, bela forma que recebeu e dessa sai oficial foto ida. And we invite all of our international guests, Mr. President, Mr. Vice Prime Minister, and members of the government for an official photo. We will have one official photo together. And all of our international guests, please join in the photo together with His Excellency, the President of the Republic and the Vice Prime Minister, as well as the members of the government who are still present. After this official photo, we have one special performance by our students from Projeto CAF. They will present to you a beautiful song Fado, and a presentation of a small theater play before we do the final closing of our summit. Media, a favor. Thank you very much. We invite Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to please be seated again for a special performance by our students from Projeto CAF that will present to you one song and also a small theater play. For all the students from Projeto CAF, please prepare yourself. Ita siya a apresentação a estudantes do projeto CAF Ninian, se apresenta música faroída no Teatro Baita Roto, Molakita Ramata. Por favor, estudantes do projeto CAF Ninian.
Bodas de ouro, da hora prometida, não sei que malagoiro me anoiteceu a vida, temo de regressar e mata-me a saudade, mas temo recordar, não sei que dor me invade. Trilhar novos caminhos, meus pobres pés toris, já roxos dos espinhos, nem ficar e morrer, perder da imagem vaga, cessar e não mais te ver, como uma luz apaga. Obrigada. As histórias para crianças devem ser escritas com palavras muito simples. Mas quem sabe se um dia se escreverá uma história onde o menino é o próprio criador do mundo.
A minha aldeia é pequena, mas o meu pensamento é grande. O que haverá depois daquela montanha? Que plantas crescem onde ninguém vê?
Não vais. É longe. O sol queima e a terra é seca.
Um cientista não tem medo de caminhar. Eu vou ver o que o mundo me esconde.
Subiu a montanha e, no topo, não encontrou nem bichos, nem gente. Encontrou apenas uma flor, mas tão murcha, tão cansada, que parecia pedir ajuda em silêncio.
Tu és uma vida que precisa de água. Estás seca, estás cansada. Se ninguém cuidar de ti, vais morrer.
Mas não há água no topo da montanha. É impossível. É impossível.
Se a água não vem até a montanha, já levo água até ela.
O menino desceu até ao rio.
Uma vez, duas vezes, muitas vezes,
uma gota, mais uma gota.
As pernas tremiam, mas o menino não desistiu.
A ciência é persistência.
Ela não desiste. Ela não desiste. Ela acredita. Ela acredita.
Se a terra tem sede, eu trago a água.
E então aconteceu.
A flor que estava morta ganhou cores que nunca se viram.
Cresceu tanto e deu a sombra à aldeia inteira. Vejam! Vejam! É a maior flor do mundo. É a maior flor do mundo. É impossível.
Não é milagre.
É cuidado.
E não
desistir. O menino salvou a flor.
Hoje, nós, alunos de Café de Dili, somos este menino.
A língua portuguesa deu-nos esta história.
A ciência dá-nos a força para cuidar do nosso país.
A ciência, tal como a maior flor do mundo, nasce das mãos de quem se atreve a cuidar.
É impossível.
É impossível.
É cuidado.
É cuidado.
É não desistir.
Thank you very much. And now we have formally concluded the Science for Development Summit 2026. On behalf of the President of the Republic, the Government of Timor-Leste, and the Summit Organizing Committee, we extend our sincere appreciation to all our distinguished speakers and moderators for sharing their knowledge and experience with us. We also thank our participating institutions, sponsors, universities, researchers, students, partners, organizers, media, volunteers, and everyone who has contributed to making this summit possible. And to our international guests, thank you for traveling to Timor-Leste and for being part of this important dialogue. We hope that the conversation begun here in Dili will lead to lasting partnerships, new opportunities for Timorese researchers and students, and practical ways in which science can contribute to Timor-Leste's development. The Science and Technology Expo will remain open following this session, and we encourage our guests to walk around, visit our exhibitors, and enjoy this evening's cultural and music program. And now coffee will be served and dinners tonight at the Memoria Viva. Thank you once again. We wish you a pleasant afternoon and evening. Obrigado, Barak. Thank you. Obrigado e adeus. Please enjoy coffee, and also we have exhibition outside. Obrigado, por favor.